Sup you guys, ASD Classified here. So, I'm finally going to be reviewing the Season 2 finale of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Evox Unleashed. So, I originally wanted to keep this video as short as possible, but the more I think about this episode, the more I have a lot to say about it, and I'm gonna say it. So, this video is most likely gonna be long as fuck. So strap in. But before I get into all of that, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also, I plan on making some new and slightly different type of videos for this channel soon. Power Ranger related, of course. So I think you'll like that. Stay tuned. Alright, let's talk about this finale. So the format of this video is going to be a little different. First, I'm going to talk about all the good things in this episode, the stuff that I liked. Then I'm going to talk about all the bad things, the stuff I didn't like. So yeah, let's start with the good. So the first good thing was the city evacuation scene at the beginning of the episode. We have Grid Battle Force on the news telling the city, look, shit is getting real. You need to get the fuck out of here. And we see all the citizens trying to evacuate the city, like they driving, you know, traffic is crowded and shit. Like, I like this. This is actually awesome. It shows how much of a threat the villain is, and all the citizens need to get the fuck out of town and let the Power Rangers handle business. I like this. It's cool. Another good moment in the episode is the scene between Zoe and her mom, with her mom finding out that her baby girl is the Yellow Ranger. I love that scene. It's very heartwarming with the mom. You know, she wanted her daughter to evacuate, but then she found out, oh, my baby is the Yellow Ranger. She got to stay and protect the city. And she's like, you know, my baby girl. I should have known you'd be a Power Ranger. You don't run from big problems. You solve big problems. I like it. It's a beautiful little scene there. Another good moment was when the Rangers used the old school Ranger weaponry against Evox. I really like this. So Evox has hacked into the Grid Battle Force Ranger systems and stuff. So their Ranger weaponry does not work against him now. You know, he's invulnerable to it. Fine. So they have to use the legendary Ranger weaponry. So they use some legendary weapons from Ninja Steel, RPM, Dino Charge, I think there was a light speed weapon in there, and then they used a weapon from SPD. And I remember when this episode, you know, first came out, fans were, you know, discussing the SPD weapon and talking about, oh, it's a plot hole, it shouldn't be here, you know, SPD is in the future. But I don't really think it's a plot hole. I'm under the impression that Beast Morphers takes place in the future after SPD. That's my belief. I remember the synopsis for Beast Morphers, you know, way back before the season even premiered, right? I think in that synopsis, they said that Beast Morphers takes place in the future, right? So, in the way that the citizens in this show act regarding, like, robots, they're like, you know, they're not shocked by robots. They're like, oh, the Beast Bots and Steel, like, oh, robots, you know, they are kind of a little too cool with that, which makes me think that this is in the future. So, I'm under the impression that Beast Morphers takes place after SPD, so I don't really think it's a plot hole. I think it's fine. So, not gonna nitpick that at all. Another good thing, Evox obtaining the power of the morphing grid. I like this. I like seeing the villains gain ultimate god power. I like that kind of stuff. Now, whether this was executed properly is a different discussion, and we'll get back to that. But I like the idea of Evox obtaining the power of the morphing grid. Next on my good list is the scene where the Grid Battle Force staff said that they were not going to evacuate the city and they were going to stand by the Rangers' side. I like that. I like it. It was nice with like, oh, Zord Maintenance will stay and Lab 6 is with you Rangers. The Command Center is with you Rangers. We're not leaving. We're not evacuating. I like that. It was a lot of camaraderie. That's the word, right? Camaraderie. I like that. You know, they standing behind the Rangers. We're all in this together. I like that. And I remember when I first saw this episode all those months ago, that when I saw this episode, it instantly reminded me of the SPD finale. And how the SPD staff was the exact opposite of the Grid Battle Force staff. I remember the SPD staff like, wait, you telling me all the Rangers have been captured? Let me get the fuck out of this planet. I'm getting the hell out of here. The SPD staff got zero loyalty. Boom had to shame them with a speech to make them stay. I'm staying because the other Rangers would stay for you. And then they're like, oh, hell, I guess we gotta stay now. Like, really? Fortunately, nobody had to shame the Grid Battle Force people in the stand. They stayed immediately on their own. Like, the Rangers actually told them to leave. And like, nah, we got your back, Rangers. We're staying with you. Side note, I love that the Rangers' parents also stayed by their side, too. I mean, of course, Commander Shaw was going to be there. She runs Grid Battle Force. But the mayor was there. And the Yellow Ranger's mom, Zoe's mom, was there, too. Like, she stayed. So I like that. The only Ranger parents that weren't there was Nate's. But they just don't give a fuck. They never do, right? They didn't even call the boy. I know y'all seen what's going on the news. You didn't even call to check on your son and make sure he was okay? Horrible parents. Horrible. Next on the good list, the Colonel Truman cameo. Look, Colonel Truman is one of my favorite Power Ranger characters of all time. So, of course, I was happy to see him in this episode, even though his cameo was really, really short and it was just about him catching Scrozzle and Corn for whatever. But yeah, I'm glad he was here. It's always good to see him. Love that character. Yeah. And the final good thing about this episode, Commander Shaw got a promotion. She's General Shaw now. She deserves. I approve. Alright, that's all I got for the good list. So on to the bad list. So number 1 on the bad list, Steel comes back to life and is turned fully human. So I guess I have to mention that Steel dies in this episode. Oh yes, Evox kills him. Now, I do like the fact that the show had the balls to kill a Ranger. You know, it definitely helps make your villains seem more dangerous, right? And not many villains can say that they've killed a Ranger. But at the same time, at no point did I believe that Steel was going to stay dead. And the Rangers didn't really give me the emotion I need for an event like that. They tried, they tried to give some emotion, but it just wasn't enough for me. It came off like the director was saying, show emotion, but not too much emotion. This is a kid's show after all. It may not have been that, but that's how it's coming off to me. It feels like you're not giving enough emotion for this. Your teammate is dead, man. Destroy something, yell, cry, where are the tears, pour some water on your face, something. It's just, I don't know, they wasn't giving me enough. So Steel comes back to life because the Morphin Grid said so, I guess. I hate this. I hate when characters just come back to life for no freaking reason. I didn't like this in Lost Galaxy when Kendrix did it, and I don't like it now with Steel. He just comes back to life because the Morphin Grid said so. I don't like it. Look, in RPM, when Jim and Gemma came back to life, it wasn't just random, okay? It wasn't just an act that just happened. Dr. K had to bring them back. She had to hack into the biofield and work some, technobabble mumble jumbo and bring them back. My point is Dr. K had to do something. She had to work for it to bring them back. They didn't just appear because magic, I hate this. Give me a reason, at least, if you're going to resurrect a Ranger who just died. Don't just bring them back randomly because. And then the Morphin Grid turns Steel fully human, and I just don't understand why this needed to occur. Now, the writers set this up earlier in the season that it was going to happen, but I still don't understand why this needed to occur. Why did he need to be fully human? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It just comes off lame to me. Why did we need this? I don't know why Steel couldn't just learn to love himself for who he is. I feel like that would have been a way better lesson, especially for kids watching a kid show. That a character just learns to love and appreciate himself for who he is and realizing he's special just the way he is and he doesn't need to change. But oh no, apparently you do, because humans are great, and if you're not human, you might as well be dead. That's apparently the lesson I'm getting from Beast Morphers. I don't know, man. I feel like a character like Steel, who has this big inflated ego and just thinks that he's just awesome and amazing and the shit and he can do no wrong, but at the same time, he doesn't love himself enough because he's not fully human. I don't know how that connects. I don't. So I feel like it would have been way better if he just learned to love himself, but whatever. He's human now. Ooh. Alright, next on the bad list, the Rangers ran off like bitches after Evox killed Steel. Or rather, the Rangers let Evox power up to God levels of power for no reason. Oh my goodness. So to recap, Evox has taken control of all the Morphex towers, right? He has all the Morphex energy from all these towers diverted into one tower. And he's in that tower sucking up all that Morphex energy. Steel tried to stop Evox with the little antivirus. The antivirus didn't work on Evox, and then Evox killed Steel. He then blast the remaining Power Rangers out of the Morphex tower. Alright. What happens next, guys? Then Devin says, hey, we need to regroup back at the base. I hear Devin say this, and I'm like, okay, I understand that. I don't think that you guys right now will be able to do anything against Evox, right? You're not powerful enough, so fine. You need to regroup. You need to figure out your next steps, right? Okay, guys, you know me, right? I'm an OG Power Ranger fan, right? Like, I've been watching since I was a kid, grew up on Mighty Morphin, right? So, in Mighty Morphin, this used to happen all the time. The OG Rangers would fight the monster, they would get their ass whooped, and then they're like, oh, we need to teleport back to the command center and regroup, right? And they get back to the command center, and regrouping is pretty much formulating a new plan to deal with the threat. Like Billy and Alpha would make a new weapon, or they make a device to beat the monster. Zordon would analyze the monster and be like, oh, Rangers, this is the monster's one weakness. Go out there and do this and you'll win. May the power protect you. And then the Rangers go back to battle, and they use the new weapon or device or hit the monster's weakness, and they win. Save the day, right? So, regrouping, again, means just formulating a new plan. That's what I always thought. That's what it's meant since Mighty Morphin, to me, right? Apparently, it means something different to Devin and the rest of Grid Battle Force. Regrouping in this episode is Devin crying that Steel is dead, and then all the people in Grid Battle Force talking about, oh, Zord maintenance will stay, the laundry staff is gonna stay, the interns, we're gonna stay, the cafeteria staff are gonna stay, y'all need some hot cakes. Y'all are sitting here crying that Steel is dead, while the main villain is powering up the Super Saiyan God levels as we speak. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? I understand that you're upset that your teammate just died, but you are letting the main villain power up right now as we speak, not doing a damn thing to stop him. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And you're not even coming up with one plan either. You're just crying about Steel. Nobody's saying, oh, okay, the antivirus didn't work. We need to try to figure out something else. We need to do this. We need to try to figure out something. Nobody's doing that. Y'all are just crying about Steel. Evox is about to put the final Infinity Stone on the gauntlet, and Devin is sitting up here talking about, guys, 5 Rangers went out, and only 4 returned, but we're gonna remain here, and we're gonna fight, and you guys need to, what are you doing? Get your asses back out there and fight. Are you serious? I don't understand this. I'm sorry. And some people might feel like I'm nitpicking. And honestly, it is a little bit of a nitpick. But I still don't like this. I don't like this. You're sitting up at the base. You're not coming up with any plans. The villain is eating the morphing grid. And y'all are sitting up here, Steel. What? Oh my God. And then, once the villain obtains his God level powers, right? And the sky blackens, the apocalypse start, and he's literally about to wipe out all of humanity, then the Rangers are like, oh, guess we gotta stop crying about Steel. Let's get the Zords. You should have called the Zords immediately. The Zords should have been called after y'all got blasted out of that tower. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Now, I don't blame Nate. Nate, super genius as he is, he's distraught. His brother just died in front of him, right? I blame Devin. Devin is the leader of this team. As soon as they got blown out, instead of regrouping, we should have called the Zords and got Evox out of that tower. Are you kidding me? You really set up and let him power up to God levels? Are you serious? That was the better alternative than trying to do whatever it took to get him out of that tower? Call the Zords now. I bet if Blaze was the leader of this team, he would have called the Zords immediately. Like, Devin, what is going on here? Like, call the Zords. Do try your best to force him out of the tower. You gotta stop him from sucking up the morphing grid. Are you kidding me? Blow up the tower if you can. Like, I haven't forgotten, you know, the finale from last season. I remember that Morphex is very explosive, right? So blowing up that tower when it has all the Morphex energy from all the other towers, I can't even imagine what kind of explosion that would cause. That'll probably wipe out the entire city. Well, or wipe out the entire city. The city should have been evacuated by then. The only people left in the city is the Rangers and Grid Battle Force. They signed up for this. They know the risk. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to stop the threat. That's what heroes do. They sometimes have to sacrifice themselves. That's what they should have been doing. Y'all should have did whatever it took to stop him from powering up. You really set aside, took time to cry about steel and allowed the villain to obtain ultimate power. Somehow this is supposed to make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just dumb. Next on the bad list, Evox's weakness and his defeat. Oh, there's a lot to this. There's a lot to this. Oh my goodness. First, human DNA. Really? Does it make sense in the storyline that the Beast Morpher writers have told us? Does it make sense that Evox's weakness is human DNA? Yes. They set it up. They explained it in the finale. You know, it weakened him. That's why he couldn't infect Steel, because Steel is half human. He had human DNA in his robotics, so he couldn't infect Steel. And then when he was inside the mayor's body, he was really weakened because human DNA is his weakness. So it makes sense in the story that they've told that his DNA, that human DNA would be a weakness to Evox. That doesn't make this any less lame. Why is human DNA his weakness? Nobody's explaining why human DNA is Evox's weakness. I don't even get the why. I don't get the why. Why is it just human DNA? Why doesn't snake DNA hurt him? Why is it just humans? Humans are animals too. I don't get it. Like, from the theme standpoint, I get it, because again, the writers are like, oh, humans are great and amazing and they're much better than stupid robots. So from that standpoint, I get, from the theme standpoint, I get why human DNA is his weakness, but like, from a cool standpoint, I don't. It's lame. Human DNA is his weakness. Human DNA is what defeats him in this. Really? Never mind the fact that human DNA was never a weakness for the Vengex virus, and Evox and Vengex are supposed to be the same thing. Vengex and RPM created hybrids. He created robot cyborgs with Vengex virus inside of them. There was no weakness. Human DNA was not a weakness to the Vengex virus, but it is to the Evox virus, so oh well, okay, it's still lame. But even putting that aside, even if human DNA is Evox's weakness, there is no way in hell that the Rangers, with the powers they have, with the Zords they have, should have been able to defeat Evox. There is no way in hell. Let me tell you something. Evox, as I mentioned, gained Super Saiyan God level powers by sucking up the goddamn morphing grid. He gained all this power. He gained this giant form at the end that's bigger than any fucking Megazord. You mean to tell me that the Rangers still came out on top when he had all this power? How? How? Listen, season 1 finale of Beast Morphers. Remember that? Remember how Evox had the power of one Morphex tower. One Morphex tower. Evox in his body, normal human size, one shot the Ultra Zord and destroyed it. That was in last year's season finale. Now we're in this episode, this season finale. Evox has the power of multiple Morphex towers. Multiple Morphex towers. He has hacked the Rangers' weaponry where their weapons don't work against him. He has also absorbed the full Vengex virus, which made him even more powerful. So he has all of this full Vengex virus, power of multiple Morphex towers, and sucked up the morphing grid, all of this. And you're telling me that with all this power, Evox can't just stand up, snap the Rangers out of existence? How? You're telling me that he shoots an energy beam and their Megazord still stands? How? How is this possible? Especially when he has absorb the morphin grid. Oh my goodness. Again, Evox and Vengex are the same being. Let's go back to the RPM finale. In the RPM finale, Vengex hacked into the biofield, which is another word for the morphin grid. He hacked into the biofield, and once he hacked into that, he was able to delete the Power Rangers when they're morphed, because once they're morphed, they're connected to the biofield. So once the Rangers were morphed, he was able to delete Jim and Gemma. He also deleted some of their Megazords. So you're telling me that in this finale, Evox Vengex has done pretty much the same exact thing, absorbed the morphin grid, has hacked their Ranger technology, but he can't just delete them down or snap them out of existence now? This is why I really wish they had not made Evox and Vengex the same being, because all I'm gonna do now is compare the two, and one of them is coming up short. Guess which one that is? Really? Really? Why is Evox so incompetent? There is literally no way in hell he should have lost his battle. No way in hell. He should have easily been able to wipe them out of existence, but he didn't. He was more powerful than he was in season 1. How did you lose? I don't... Oh, human DNA. Like, oh my God. Power levels are bullshit. And even though y'all blew up Evox in the end, I don't know why any of y'all think he's dead. How many times have y'all blown up Evox and he's come back? How many times has Vengex been blown up and he comes back? Why would you think this time is the trick? I don't understand. How many times has Vengex died? He's immortal. He's not going anywhere. He's somewhere around here. Like, oh God. Okay. Next thing on the bad list, that song. You really ended this episode on that stupid song. I hate all of you. I hate all of you. You really ended the episode on that It's Great to Be Human song. God, I hate that song. That song is awful. I'm not debating anybody on that. That song is trash. That song is if you took Power Rangers Megaforce and put it in song form. That's what it is. It really is that. If that song included stuff about how great the Earth is, it would just be right on target of Power Rangers Megaforce in song. Oh, I hate that song. I hate it. Great to Be Human. Kiss my ass. Okay, final bad thing. The epilogue. I didn't really care for it. It's not even that much bad as it is boring. I only really like the one with Colonel Truman because Colonel Truman. But all the other ones are boring. What? Ravi and his mom painting? Boring. Zoe and Nate making windmills? Boring. Steel is apparently a movie action star now. Boring. Like, all this is boring. Him having his first birthday? Boring. Like, you really ended the episode on this 1 year later shit. Is boring. It's just boring. Like, I could have really turned the episode off once Steel came back to life. I really didn't even need to watch the rest of this because it was boring. Alright, those are my thoughts. The good and the bad on this season 2 Beast Morphers finale. Lord. Overall, I don't really care for this episode that much. See, when I saw this episode originally, like months ago, I thought it was decent enough. You know, the epilogue and that stupid song really brought it down for me, but I thought it was decent enough, and I probably would have gave it a 3 out of 5 if I had reviewed it immediately after I first saw it. But now watching it again and having more time to think about it, I really don't care for this episode that much. Probably just gonna give it a 2 out of 5. I don't care. I don't care. It's not that great. So, yeah, if you're watching this video, what did you think about the season 2 finale of Beast Morphers? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was mud? Let me know in the comments if you be so kind. Alright, later guys. I'm out there.